I just want to show people what it looks like in terms of, how matters and how contracts can work well together, so we can actually kind of just, I guess, visualize the what an integrated system might look like. So just bear with me a second while I get this thing set up.
Good luck, Sean.
I know. The whole internet's just going to come crashing down because it won't be able to cope.
No. It's going to be amazing. We have people from Jamaica and London and Oregon and all over the place. So no pressure, but you can do it.
Great stuff. All right.
Looks good.
Great stuff. So, when we look at matter management, so this is what a matter management could look like, I guess, obviously using LawVu. So this is a grid view. This is a view of all the information that I need to know about the things that I'm currently working on at a glance, and where things are at. So I'm just showing a matter name, the department, matter type, what's the type of legal work, I've assigned it a priority, and I've got a status update. So this is kind of the general information that I've captured in a different view. And Haley spoke about data from all the different banners that you're working on. So having a matter management system gives you that ability to collect whatever data you want to collect about the things that are important for you, so you can track the work that you're working on, but also so you can start to do some incredible work around insight. So for instance, I've got a value view here, which I'm starting to track some other criteria, some risk. I've given a risk ranking, the complexity, and the significance. So the significance for me is how aligned is this piece of work with our strategic objectives for the business. So at a glance, I'm now able to see the value of the things that we're spending our time on, and when where we're not spending our time. So in terms of how many of these issues are we currently working on that are low risk, low complex, low significance compared to the high risk, high complexity type work. And then you can bring into this work that's been outsourced to your external law firms, and it gives you, and it will start to paint that picture of, are we spending our time internally on the low risk, low value work? Are we getting these kind of blues? And is all the red stuff going to our external law firms? Are the external law firms doing the work that's of value, whereas the in-house team, unfortunately, we're focused on this low value work? And then that goes back to what Kelly was talking about, which is kind of self-serve. How can we get rid of some of this work through automation and template documents and self-service and those types of things? So this is kind of just a basic overview of what metadata can look like. A matter itself, so what is a matter? A matter can be anything, I guess. It's a case, it's a project, it's a it's a thing that the team is working on. I've just done something off the side here, so sorry, just bear with me a sec. It's confused me. So think of that a kind of a central hub that kind of brings together everything. I've got some basic details data about the thing that we're currently working on. The region that's for the department. I've got some background information. Again, this is all data that can be pulled through onto some of those views. We've got the ability to manage tasks and where tasks are at with different people. We've got files, the ability to manage files, emails, documents, version control, and file notes as well. So these are the notes that you'd kind of raise to, these are things that are critical about this issue. So again, all that information into one place so that we can manage it. Again, instead of it being, think about it as being this central hub of all information that would ordinarily be contained in emails or in shared drives or in other places, bringing together. I've also got the people, so the people that are working on this with me, and financial information as well about legal spend and so on. So it's a great way of structuring everything so it's easy to manage and easy to report on. Contracts, again, contract management is similar to matters in that I have metadata that I can collect about all the things that we're currently working on in terms of contracts. It's a repository for everything, so even expired contracts live in here. So you'll have years and years of contract information in here, all of which is searchable and retrievable at a click of a button. And again, I've got these grid views of data that we're collecting about contracts. I've got the stage that it's at in terms of our contract life cycle, whether it's in drafting, executed, going through an approval process, the name of the contract. I've got some values in there, who it's for, when it expires, and who actually owns the contract within the business as well. So again, it's the ability to track information about the contracts and create these different views. At a glance, I know where things are at and what's going on. But again, we can use it to track data about the value of that work or the risk of that work. And this is my risk view. I've just simply assigned a risk ranking for each of those contracts, so I know which are the priority contracts that we really need to be focused on. And I'll show you now what a contract actually looks like using this MSA. And like the matters, it brings together everything that's important about this contract. So some metadata, who the contract is with, what's the other party, what regions it's for, what's their address. I've got an approval workflow. Kaylee spoke about an approval workflow. This contract has already been through an approval workflow. So I've got an audit trail of when these people were notified and when they actually approved the contract itself. I've got the files that are associated with this contract as well. Quite often you will have associated files. If you're using a document management system, they could be in different places, or even an email, they can be spread all over the place. So again, bringing all your files together that are associated with this contract into one single place. I've got my key dates, notifications when key dates are due. And as this is an MSA, I've got some statements of work, so I can link those statements of work to this master services agreement and access those straight from here. So that starts to paint a picture of having everything of importance about this contract in one place. Like Kaylee said, sometimes there are matters that don't involve contracts and they live in the matter management system. Sometimes there are contracts that don't involve matters. So like NDAs, they're fairly benign. There's nothing else about them. They will just exist in your contract management repository and go through the normal process for those things. But sometimes these things are so important that there's more to them, that you want to try and connect all this information together. And if you can see here, I've got some related matters. So I've got two statements of work that are related to this MSA, but it's also related to a matter. And this is how the power of having a connected system starts to pull through. So now I can easily navigate back to that matter. So this is a matter around a dispute. So I'm now back into the matter. I've outsourced this to an external law firm as well. The external law firm now has access to the contracts that form the relationship between the two, and now we're managing this this dispute through this matter as well. And this matter is also related to another matter, so I can now start to pull that information together as well. So this is what we call a parent matter. So as part of this matter, it started off as an issue that we were progressing. We then ended up with two disputes arising from this, and each of those will have the contracts related to them again. So pulling everything together into one single place provides you with that real, true single source of truth. I don't need to search for that information. That's there. I know which matters are related to the contracts. I know which contracts are related to matters. Like I said, in many organizations, this information is held in people's heads. They understand those connections between the two, but now it's digitized. So that if ever I go on leave or I resign, or for whatever reason I'm not around, you have business continuity, which makes it easier for anybody else to step into the role, to continue progressing those issues. No more time lost through searching through disconnected other sources. We've created that, I guess, optimal single source of truth. So I won't take up any more of your time on that one. I could go on for hours about that. So I won't take any more time, and I will go back to our agenda. And it worked. I didn't crash the system, which I'm so proud about.
Well done.
Excellent.
Haley, while Sean's
You,
switching over, just curious if there's anything that he showed that you're like, yep, that is absolutely a highlight for us. Showed the grids and some of those other things. Just what's your team's experience, now
Yeah.
that people have kind of seen LawVu?
Yeah. It was what I didn't realize until I was in it was the power on how LawVu is set up their system, where the fields, you set them up once and then you can use them anywhere in the system. And when you do something like that, that means that when you spit out the data on the other end, it can all be tied back together. And I think that's the hidden power of how LawVu is designed.
yeah, so great. Of course, if you obviously want to have another look for yourself, then obviously please reach out, and we're happy to kind of show you what LawVu can do in that regard. So that was, I guess we've called that the fundamentals of having matters contracts together and the value of those. But there are so many other the icing on the cake. One of the things that I found alarming about the IDC report was that percentage of business leaders who would try and get around legal when they needed to, just because they thought we have to get this work done and we're going to take that risk. And many of those experiences that you've shown already has shown how having the right tech and processes can enhance how I think the legal team interacts with the business. And we do have a couple of minutes left. So if we can talk about some of the icing on the cake, what are some of those other features that serve to kind of enhance the relationship even further? Do you want to talk to us about something that people are always curious about, which is data and metrics and reporting? What are some of those things that you're doing with legal data, and how does kind of this platform help you in that area?
Absolutely. So here at Dutch Bros Legal, we are a team of yes, but how is kind of how we look at it. And we want our business partners to want us in the room from the start, because they recognize the really, the skill set that we bring to the table and the benefits of having our team there. So that's our purpose, because there are clients, and the ways that we can get those business partners excited about legal data is really through metrics. So we talk a lot, or what we've started working on over the past 2 years is how do we start educating our business partners on what we do and get them excited about legal's data. And that a key piece to that is making sure that your data is accessible to the rest of the business. So one of the things that is beneficial about LawVu is that they have an open API. They have great, software engineers, whatever the technical term is for it, where they're constantly working to build out integrations to really enable you to take your LawVu data elsewhere within the company. And so that's been a massive leap over the last year. And now that we're actually able to look at our contract and matter data, we can start talking about how we are going to do what we do better and faster, and really be stewards of the resources that the business is giving us, so that we can change the rhetoric from legal being a cost center to being as you said, a revenue enabler. So that's the key to metrics.
Yeah,